On your feet! Get them going!
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. I'm your host, Mike S. Miller. I'm just a guy on the internet talking about the Bible and stuff like that. Not a pastor, priest, rabbi, theologian, all that. The list of things that I'm not. As Doug Tenaple would say, I'm just a barely literate comic book artist. And I hate it. I start the stream and my stomach suddenly goes, Rory, it's time to eat something. So, I know it's a faux pas. But I'm going to eat a beef stick while we're here real quick. Let's see. Tina says hello. And that's me. Devil's there. What's up, guys? I know I didn't do a show yesterday. My apologies. You know, it'd be funny if I started my show at 12:10, because up here, the clock on the classroom is at 12:10. That's an idea. The squirreling is doing fine. I was just terribly busy. How is my life so busy? I am so busy, like all the time. It's really almost irritating. Hoopy Frood says, would you be interested in doing formal debates on YouTube, my friend? Breakfast Tacos has been hosting them lately and needs more theists. Recently had Andrew Wilson versus Planet Peterson on. I mean, it might be fun. It would be fun. I don't know that I'm the best debater in the world. I'd be willing to. I went on Such an Adam once, but they're not exactly debaters either. I think I kind of mopped the floor with them, but doesn't everybody always think that? That might be fun. I don't even know who those people are. Are they annoying? Somebody posted a couple people in the chat the other day, and I was listening to them, and it's like, oh my gosh. I like people who can just think clearly and not get emotional in their arguments. And these people were just super, like this arrogance and emotionality in a debate. And I just don't. When you're getting acting like that, we're like, oh, am I? You're just stupid. These people who think something other than I do, they're clearly just stupid. It's entirely up to you, you know. You can get a variety of different opponents and any topics, really. Yeah, sure. That'd be fun. I don't know who this person is. But hit me up. Get in the Discord. Hit me up. Let me know who it is. I'll go make a fool of myself someplace. I don't mind making a fool of myself for Jesus. That's fine. I just wouldn't want to embarrass him. I'll embarrass myself all day long. It's what I do. I really liked the most recent debate, Wi-Fi Gospel versus Josie. Josie is a really chill atheist who doesn't even have a social media presence. The topic was, is God required for knowledge? What an interesting question. See, this is why I suck at a debate. Because, you ask me a question like that, and I'll just sit there and think about it. I don't have a bunch of rote answers and just memorize talking points and stuff. If somebody asks me something in a debate, I will stop and think about it, and they'll be like, don't you have anything to say? I'm like, I'm thinking. Mike, maybe you should watch one of their debates first and then decide. That would probably be wise. Sorry, now I got meat in my teeth. Real Breakfast Tacos is the host. It's not a single person. It's any debater you want from a variety of different people. Okay. Well, here's my thing. I wouldn't prepare for a debate, which might be unwise of me. No, that's why you're here. We love watching fools on the internet. A formal debate. See, I've never taken like a debate class or anything like that. The idea of formal debate, I've just watched formal debates online. So, oh gosh, that means like coming up with a intro thing and stuff like that. I've honestly never done one, which is why it's interesting to me. I wonder how I would do. I've never ever done a formal debate thing. Mike, what are you eating? Also, it was nice. I don't know what those degrees mean. You're speaking some foreign language. About 66, 70. That sounds lovely. Lots of sunlight today. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I haven't had my. Well, I had to go pick up my daughter. She needed to borrow the car, and then I want to go. It looks so nice outside. I just want to go sit and stick my face in the sun for like 20 minutes. Yeah, if it's not something you could prepare for, maybe it's not your thing. But most people who do this stuff aren't like debate pros. Formal just means you have an intro, a cross-examination, and a conclusion and Q&As. Yeah, let's talk about this on the Discord. I don't want to fill up the topic today with this. Dillahunty does bookings for debates. I don't know who that is. What's a Dillahunty? Am I like making myself what do you call it? A target for debaters? I just come on. Like I said, I'm not a pastor, priest, rabbi, blah 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 blah. Matt Dillahunty. That name sounds very familiar. Matt Dillahunty. Matt Dillahunty. Have you mentioned that before, or do I just know that from somewhere online? The Oxford style format is broken down into 4 sections: opening remarks, intra-panel discussion, question and answer, and closing remarks. Okay, so I'd have to write opening and closing remarks, or do you like come up with closing remark? No, they do, huh? They do opening and closing remarks like beforehand. Gosh, that sounds like homework. Before the debate begins, the moderator shares the motion, and each audience member casts their vote. Not a target. I just brought it up because Taco mentioned he needs more theists willing to debate. Yeah, I'm willing to. I just like to have conversations. But maybe I could come up with something. I don't know. Well, yeah. Post me some stuff in the Discord. Yeah, I put one of his debates with Dinesh D'Souza on the Discord. Oh, okay. All right. Matthew Wade Dillahunty Boardmaster is an American atheist activist and former president of the Atheist Community of Austin, a position he held from 2006 to 2013. I'm a mod for his channel, so I guess I'm just shilling and will stop, but thank you for taking it seriously. Of course, thank you very much, Hoopy Brood dude, or dudette. I'm not sure. I can't tell from your name or your lack of PFP. The Atheist Experience, televised webcast. He formerly hosted. Okay. I don't need his whole bio, Tina. In the summer of 2017, Dillahunty joined a speaking tour where he shared the stage with fellow atheists Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins, and Lawrence Krauss. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? What does the Peanut Gallery think about me doing a formal debate? Because you guys know I tend to not have like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of these guys that do debates, they have, like I said, they have sort of rote answers and talking points, and I don't generally do that, and I don't generally like doing that. Know what I'm saying? They're kind of OGs because they've been uploading to YouTube basically since its inception. No kidding. Apparently, he is a known debater. I'd suggest no, don't do it, Mike. Well, now you're just making me want to do it, Tina. If there's a topic you really feel compelled to debate about, you should do a debate on it. I don't know. I'm rather more of a take the questions kind of guy. Like, you give me a question, and I mean, honestly, it's funny because I was talking to my son last night about Cliff Connectley, and he's like, he says the same stuff like over and over. Because if you watch through like a whole bunch of Cliff Connectley's videos, he does. He ends up saying a lot of the same stuff over and over and over again. And it's not really because he just has it down by rote. It's because, and I went through this when I started my journey into Christianity, where I went into the atheist message boards on AOL, and I just said, "What do you guys got? What are your complaints?" Right? Because I didn't know much about Christianity at the time, but I was convinced that the Bible was written from outside of time and space. And because it was, that meant that it was true. Or if God did indeed write it, it had to be true, and therefore it had to be unassailable. So if you had attacks against the faith, let me know what they are. I did this for like 6 to 8 hours a day. And just like Cliff, eventually it became rote in the sense that atheists only have a handful of arguments, and they just say the same ones over and over again as if nobody's ever answered them for them, or they're too unwilling to accept the answer, and so they just dig down on the same stinking questions over and over and over again. And so I was like, yeah, Cliff's been doing this on college campuses since I saw him in the 90s in Austin. He might have been doing it even earlier than that. But now it's on YouTube, and so you've got thousands of hours of him doing it, and so yeah, it gets quote unquote rote. But where was I going with that? But so that's why you'll hear the same thing. You know, I don't want to like repeat myself, but gosh, the questions, it becomes almost like interesting. It becomes much more interesting to me when I hear an argument that I've never heard before. And yeah, I do sit there and I'll think about it. Because like I've never heard it before, so I don't just automatically have, oh yeah, this question I've heard it 1,000 times. If I hear a new question, I actually enjoy that. It's like, gosh darn, what makes sense in the terms of what's being asked me. All right. Laveau says, do it. Book a debate with him, or at least call into his show. He prioritized theists, calls to explain what they believe and why. Okay. No. It looks like he is a professional debater. Dillahunty debates sometimes, but he mostly just does call-in shows. The show is way more informal. But I'm not affiliated with Dillahunty. Okay. Mike, don't invite Jesus into a first-person shooter game. If he dies, he'll take 3 days to respawn. Why? That's all I ask. Why? Christian John. Corpse Grinder. Why didn't Jesus write the Bible perfectly while he was here on earth? Why would he? The Bible was written prior to him being here in order to catalog the fact that history was being written in advance so that when he got to Earth and fulfilled those prophecies, it was evidence that he was the Messiah that the Jews were waiting for thousands of years, right? Yeah, since Abraham. So probably a good 2,000 years. Is that about right? Is that the timeline? 2,000 years? Was Abraham like... Yeah, Abraham was probably like 500 years before Moses, give or take. So yeah, over 2,000 years. Hoopy Food says, I'm friends with Real Breakfast Tacos. Real Breakfast Tacos. He started... Sorry, I'm trying to read it from two different things. He started hosting debates recently, and it's been really good for his channel. It's also a way to help promote your own channel, debating on a variety of channels. Yeah, that's a good thing. Here's the thing. I'm not... I know it's weird, but I'm not trying to like blow up my cross-examination channel. I mean, it'd be nice to have more people watching, but this is more of a fellowship and a outreach. So I guess if I went and debated on other people's channels, it would be an outreach. I'll have to contemplate that. I'll have to think and pray on that topic. Let's see. Prominent atheist debater, has participated in numerous debates with some of the most notable engagement, including Ray Comfort, Clinton Wilcox, and Cliff Knechtle. Nice. But you might not even need to do debates to get that exposure and collaboration. Just having conversations and sitting in on panels can do the same thing. I don't know. Now I'm very curious. Now I am curious. Why would they invite Mike if he was just going to sit on the panel? Wouldn't he be expected to participate? Well, if you're on a panel, the idea is that you participate. Otherwise, you're just taking up a seat. To get the exposure and ability to converse with people in formal debating. Informal debates sound much more fun than formal debates. Formal debates, honestly, I don't really even like watching formal debates. I just like watching people have conversations and debating in conversation form. Informal debate, I guess. God has the perfect opportunity to write a perfect book instead of having all these different interpretations. Why would he? Well, it is perfect, Corpse Grinder. The original autographs are perfect. The issue with different interpretations is that there's a bunch of different languages and not everybody speaks Hebrew and Koine Greek. So you have to interpret them into other languages for the people who don't speak Koine Greek and Hebrew. Right? So that's why the imperfect... God didn't come down to write 200 different languages. I don't even... How many languages are there on this planet? I'm just being protective of Mike. God protects me, team. That's good. I appreciate it. I'm not sure if Mike is ready for a conversation and likely not a formal debate with Matt, but it would be interesting. You challenging me, Livo? Matt's debate with Cliff was rough. Cliff got walked. Ray Comfort was even worse. Huh. I'll have to see those. I don't... I've mentioned it before here, but it's like... I love Cliff. But sometimes in formal debates, he doesn't come off the best. And it's not necessarily about what he's debating. It's sort of, first of all, that camera angle he uses where he looks like he's just looking down, and he's... I don't know. I don't want to... Nah, I'm not going to bet. I love it. I'm sure, Laveau, that's you're coming from it from the atheist perspective, right? And so you're probably going to take that opinion most of the times. But I will be open when, yeah, I've seen these times. Well, I've posted it here, like when let's see, Cliff and then Dinesh sort of got like they did get walked over in certain parts of the debate because of positions they take that I don't take, honestly. And you can mock my position for being a young Earth creationist and a 6-day believer, but at least because I believe in those, my understanding is consistent. When you're a theistic evolutionist, or you even give room to that old Earth, and you start buying into theories over what the Bible says, then yeah, you can get tripped up because it's not going to line up. I didn't realize that when I was a theistic evolutionist, but I certainly do now. It still needs to be translated into a bunch of languages over thousands of years. Correct. Formal debates are better specifically for the cross-examination. There is no opportunity for real cross-examination, for real cross to happen outside of those contexts. Devil's Advocate says, if you like conversations on Bible and stuff, I recommend YouTube channel Revelation 22:13 and some more, but I forgot, and that's the main one. It takes place in Hyde Park, UK. Okay. Corpse Grinder says, God would know all about those languages and could use one of those miracles to make it perfectly understood. Corpse Grinder, do you understand the gospel? Right? God came in the form of Jesus Christ, virgin birth, sinless life, died on the cross, rose 3 days later to prove he was who he said he was. He's the Son of God. He's God himself. And through his sacrifice, you are made eligible to join the family of God and enter into the kingdom of heaven. That's so simple, you can understand it in any language. The tiny little nitty-gritty stuff, it's like you're concerned about pebbles and ignoring the mountain. Right? Every little thing, you can go down to the original languages and understand the original intent of every single word. You can. We have, well, maybe you can't in like Swahili, or I don't even know. I don't know. I'm only in America speaking English. So I know that there are resources if you want to get to the original languages in English. And I'm sure that you have the same resources in Japan and in Germany and in all these other places where the Bible has been translated. I'm sure you have the resources to find the original language and the original intent, so you can argue and bicker over the tiny little insignificant differences. But the mountain is still obviously the mountain, and you're just complaining about pebbles on the mountain. It's unnecessary. Roughly 7,000 languages spoken right now. Holy cow. Depending on your definition of language. Far more if you include all the ancient languages they're derived from and the extinct ones. Yeah. That would have taken more time than 33 years for Jesus to have translated all of those. So he wouldn't have had much time to actually do his ministry. He would have had to sit there just writing perfectly every day for, he won't even have that conversation with me, Lovo. Which conversation? Bible translation in progress. Bible translation is currently happening in 3,526 languages in 173 countries. That's a lot. Is Matt an atheist? I don't know. Alex O'Connor versus Dinesh D'Souza was probably one of the worst recent debates. Dinesh did not. Well, I haven't watched the whole thing, but the clips I saw. Yeah, it's because I think Dinesh is a. What? That doesn't make any sense. how could Dinesh be a theistic evolutionist? He can't. Because he's the one that stumbled Christopher Hitchens. I remember back in the day. The oldest standing human buildings, none of them are older than 4,500 years old. Right? It's like if mankind's been around for 200,000 years or 1,000,000 years or whatever, why are the oldest standing, that's not like buried building, like Göbekli Tepe and whatever, right? The oldest standing human structures on planet Earth, none of them are over 4,500 years old. And Christopher Hitchens was just, well, that is odd. Wait, what happened 4,500 years ago? Oh, it's a global flood. The oldest living trees, 4,500 years old. What happened 4,500 years ago? Right? There's no reason a tree can't live to be 10, 50, 100,000 years old. There's no reason mankind couldn't stack rocks 10,000 years ago. Which, again, the stuff that's been buried, but how was it buried? So yeah, Dinesh is the one that used that argument on Chris Hitchens way back in the day. So I don't understand why he would. It seems like he's backpedaling into theistic evolution or something. I don't even know. Or maybe he's a theistic evolutionist and he still believes the flood. Well, you have to believe the flood if you're a Christian, right? I don't know. The whole Bible has been translated into 756 languages. The New Testament has been translated in an additional 1,726 languages, and smaller portions of the Bible are translated to. Okay. Are you flat or globe Earth? I am a globe Earther, but there's a couple of things that the flat Earther, because I had a friend who's he won't say he's a flat Earther, but he's like, I just find it all very interesting. But he kept sending me all these videos. And one of the things I have a hard time wrapping my head around, because I do see the evidence for a globe Earth. But so if you do the zoom, you can see way past 3 miles over the horizon. And I don't understand that. Now, perhaps the atmosphere bends light, which I'm sure you can, I don't know. I think there's more questions on that particular one, but I think the predominant evidence is that we are in a globe. But that doesn't mean I'm going to ignore the things that, like, you really can. If you can zoom out and zoom out and zoom out and zoom out, and stuff way past 3 miles comes back into view. And I just go, what's that about? What is that about? That would contradict the story of Babel. What would? I'm assuming you're a geocentrist globe Earther or just flat. Geocentrist. Why? Why would you assume that? We know the Tower of Babel is not how languages work. Okay, how do we know that? You mean because some languages like branch off into other languages? It doesn't mean that the Tower of Babel was the starting point of every existing language today. It was just where the languages were confused at that point in time. I understand it's a collection of scrolls that have different versions of stories, some made up to fulfill prophecy. Corpse Grinder, Ezekiel, 3,500 years ago, prophesied the exact day that Israel would become a nation again in May 14th, 1948. Every copy of the Bible, the billions of copies of the Bible that existed prior to 1948 were not then changed to fulfill prophecy. That was one of the big prophecies that like smacked me in the head when I was an agnostic, and I'm like, all right, there's that can't be just reasoned away. That can't just be excused and ignored. And I wasn't agnostic. I was raised agnostic, man. So don't come at me like, oh, you just believe this stuff because you were raised to. I know you didn't say that. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I was convinced of this stuff because I had an open-minded, I'll say at the time. 2,000 years ago, there would have been even more languages, actually. How do you figure? Poopy fruit. It's generally believed that there were more spoken languages than there are now due to the loss of languages through extinction and assimilation. Who's extinct? Well, assimilation. Yeah, like there were 4 Greek languages and they were merged to become Koine Greek. Dinesh was raised Catholic. That might be why he's good with evolution. The church is. All right. Clearly, there were no trees or buildings more than 4,500 years ago. Okay. All right. Let's. I haven't really met a young Earth creationist that isn't either flat earther or globe Earth geocentrist. No, I believe. So I don't know the name of the scientist, but a long time ago, a scientist posited that the center of the universe, the Big Bang singularity, that point in the universe, time is still 0. And that time speeds up, time accelerates with expansion. So that when you get to the edge of the universe, wherever that is, time may be 18 billion. I mean, we've only seen so far out. It might be 100 trillion years old. Who knows? Wherever the actual end of the universe is, time and matter may move so fast that it's billions and trillions of years old. But there are concentric rings, or I don't know how you'd call rings, globes, circular spheres. Spheres, hard word. There are concentric spheres where time is gradually increasing, so that we in the Milky Way and in our particular concentric sphere from the singularity exist in the 6,000 to 10,000 year time range. So I kind of like that model. I can't remember who came up with it though. I'm not sure how anyone can justify a geocentric universe when that goes against all our observations. There are no buildings older than 4,500 years because everyone before them was on a strict carnivore diet. Time equals 0 doesn't make sense. It's undefined. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not a freaking astrophilosophist. I just know I've heard that theory over the years, and whether it's 0 or it's just the closest thing to 0 that it fundamentally counts as 0, I don't know. But time is a mutable dimension in our universe, right? Time is affected by gravity. And so if you are at the 0 point of space, time, gravity, etc., I don't know. Possible. Can you prove it wrong? Old Tico is a Norway spruce that survives through a process called vegetative cloning, allowing it to regenerate new trunks while its root system remains intact. The trunk dies every 600 years. Now they're all time cubes, thus 4 major periods of time a day, because as we all know, cubes have 4 sides. I don't know what that means. All right, let's get to the Bible, shall we? King James Bible Online. And welcome to the new people. Thank you for being here. Always a pleasure to have new fellas in the chat. All right, let's see if I can get this to the right dimensions for my... I had to reboot my computer, which is Makes my computer run so much faster when it's freshly rebooted. I should probably do that every day. I don't know who convinced me to stop. Like my dad was a computer engineer, and he always told me to turn my computer off and then turn it back on. And like nowadays, everyone's like, no, just leave your computer on all the time. I don't understand. Was there some hardware, software shift in time, in the mutable time, that I don't know about? Does somebody know? Just look into the time cube conspiracy. It makes flat earthers look sane. Or you can buy a faster computer. Thanks, Jeff. You're always helpful. All right, present, share screen. Interesting conversation today, though. Thank you, guys. All right, Job chapter 10, Job's lament. My soul is weary of my life. I will leave my complaint upon myself. I will speak in the bitterness of my soul. I will say unto God, do not condemn me. Show me wherefore thou contendest with me. Is it good unto thee that thou shouldest oppress, that thou shouldest despise the work of thine hands, and shine upon the counsel of the wicked? Hast thou eyes of flesh, or seest thou as a man seeth? Are thy days as the days of a man? These are all obviously no questions. I mean, the answer is implicitly no. Are thy days as the days of a man? Are thy years as a man's days? That thou inquirest after mine iniquity and searchest after my sin. Thou knowest that I am not wicked, and there is none that can deliver out of thine hand. Thine hands have made me and fashioned me together round about, yet thou dost destroy me. Remember, I beseech thee, that thou hast made me as the clay, and wilt thou bring me into the dust again? Into dust again. Hast thou not poured me out as milk and curdled me like cheese? Cheese. Thou hast clothed me with skin and flesh, and hast fenced me with bones and sinews. Thou hast granted me life and favor, and thy visitation hath preserved my spirit. And these things hast thou hid in thine heart. I know that this is with thee. If I sin, then thou markest me, and thou wilt not acquit me from mine iniquity. If I be wicked, woe unto me, and if I be righteous, yet will I not lift up my head. I am full of confusion. Therefore see thou mine affliction, for it increaseth. Thou huntest me as a fierce lion, and again thou showest thyself marvelous upon me. Thou renewest thy witnesses against me, and increaseth thine indignation upon me. Changes and war are against me. Wherefore then hast thou brought me forth out of the womb? Oh, that I had given up the ghost, and no eye had seen me. I should have been as though I had not been. I should have been carried from the womb to the grave. Are not my days few? Cease then, and let me alone, that I may take comfort a little. Before I go, whence I shall not return, even to the land of the darkness and the shadow of death. A land of darkness as darkness itself, and of the shadow of death without any order, and where light is as darkness. This is probably like modern day Judaism and the Sadducees of the old, in Jesus' day. They didn't believe in the resurrection. And it's verses like this, right? This, and there's some in Ecclesiastes. I think there's some in Psalms where death is darkness. The dead know nothing. I think that's in Ecclesiastes. Stuff like this, where it's like a land of darkness and darkness itself, right? This is where you go when you die. obviously there were the Pharisees, and I think the people that believed in the resurrection and believed in, people going to heaven prior to the resurrection, I suppose. I still go back and forth on that, even though I think there's a pretty good argument that we do go to heaven prior to the resurrection. I still do go back and forth on it. I'm just going to be honest. But it is stuff like this in the Old Testament that would lead people like the Sadducees and modern day Jews, modern day Judaism, rabbinic Jews. I don't even know what you call it. That they don't believe in heaven or resurrection, and so it's like in death you just go to darkness. I don't understand the value. I mean, if there's no eternal judgment, then there's no real purpose, right? Because we know that rain falls on the just and the unjust. Job is a great example of someone who was very just, perfect in the ways of the Lord, and rain and grief struck on him just as it does on the wicked. And sometimes you have the wicked who live very, very bountiful lives. There would be no justice without eternal, or what's the word? Post-death, afterlife. You know the words to say. This is why I'd be terrible in debate, because I'd be sitting there searching for certain words. Reward, eternal reward. Without eternal reward of either the wages of sin or the wages of repentance, where you choose to want to serve the Lord and be good and faithful servant to the Lord, there's no justice without eternal reward, right? But I'm just saying that, like, verses like this is where that kind of a mindset comes from. I've discussed this with enough people. Well, that's not the only reason. Go on, buddy. Feel free. Oh my gosh, Mike, my dad was a computer engineer. He worked for Martin Marietta most of his life. Well, to squirrel away into, gee, what did dad do for a living? My dad worked for IBM in the 60s after he got out of the Army. He was the president of IBM brought him into his office, and he's like, Jerry, I want you to be the West Coast regional manager for IBM. And my dad's like, I'd never be home. I guess the regional manager had to go to all the different IBMs all the time. And he's like, no. So the president of IBM, he's like, well, let me put it this way. Either you take this job or you'll never work at IBM again. And my dad's like, bye. Oh my gosh, I am just like my dad. I get that streak in me from him, huh? You'll never make money in Comicsgate again. Peace. Gosh, that just dawned on me. That's funny. And so then he went to work for a company called Burroughs. And then after Burroughs, or was it Burroughs, then IBM? I think it was IBM, then Burroughs. Then I think after Burroughs, he worked for DEC, Digital Equipment Corporation. And then we moved to San Diego. He was working at DEC. And then we moved up to San Jose, and he was working at DEC in San Jose. DEC, for those of you who are old enough to remember this, invented one of the first personal computers. It was called the DEC Rainbow. And this is a real big squirrel that has nothing to do with Christianity, but you brought it up. So the DEC Rainbow was a powerful little personal computer right when personal computers were like starting to edge their way into the real world. And so they had these things running. Rainbow users absolutely love them. And then the president of DEC, this is why nobody's heard of DEC. The president of DEC, who produced probably the best personal computer in the day, said, there's no future for these personal computers. So they pulled the rug on the Rainbow program. My dad leaves DEC, Digital Equipment Corporation. Right. And DEC eventually went belly up. So my dad leaves DEC and starts a company called Suitable Solutions, which made aftermarket hardware and software all out of my dad's brain for the DEC Rainbow. That the Rainbow users were, I mean, it was such a good computer compared to everything else that was on the market, that my dad kept that business open for like, I think it was like 8 or 10 years of people who would rather use their DEC Rainbow with my dad's hardware and software upgrades than they would go buy an IBM personal computer. That's how much Digital Equipment Corporation missed the boat on this. And they did eventually go belly up. So after that, my dad he closed up shop at DEC, and then he went and worked at Sun Microsystems. He was one of the engineers that built the workstations for a little project for Steve Jobs called Toy Story. And I remember him. I was like, you could have. He's like, yeah, they wanted me to go, or they gave me, they wanted us, the teams that built those workstations, to go and check out Toy Story before it came out. And he's like, I don't want to go see some stupid cartoon. I'm like, you could have taken me to see Toy Story before it came out. Thanks, Dad. So he spent the rest of his days until he had his strokes at Sun Microsystems, and that's all she wrote. That's all she wrote. He was the only guy at Sun Microsystems in Sunnyvale, California, that didn't have a college degree. And he was the guy that all the little bright and brilliant little guys came to when they had problems not being able to figure stuff out. My dad was. He was a pioneer and he was a legend. Yeah. Anyways, I'm sorry. There's no future in personal computers, which was their best seller at the time. Yeah. Wow, no use for, yeah, dumb move there. Very, very dumb move. I remember DEC, says Chuck Keyworth. Yeah. If they had just not made that one dumb move, they would have probably been if not the premier personal computer developer. If they had just maintained that one bad decision. It's like that guy that told, when Steven Spielberg came to him and said, hey, can I use M&Ms for the little treat in my movie I have called Extraterrestrial? And the M&M, was it Mars Corporation? Somebody there was like, no. Okay, I guess I'll use Reese's Pieces. Good marketing. Same thing with Mattel and Barbie for Toy Story. They didn't want Little Bo Peep. They wanted Barbie. And they went to Mattel and they're like, hey, can we use Barbie in our thing? But they want Barbie to be a cipher and not have a personality. So they said nope for Toy Story 1. So they put Little Bo Peep in there. The little like life-changing decisions or you know what I mean? Okay. Tina says, I can remember using IBM XT computers. I can remember when the first Mac came out with the little square discs, and I had that draw and paint program embedded. That was so cool back in the 80s. Yeah. Yep. Your dad didn't think his kids would like to see a cartoon movie. Look, as much as I just bragged about my dad as an engineer, and he was a phenomenal engineer, hardware, software, you name it. He used to make circuit boards like in the garage, like, you know, you put the tape on the blank circuit board and you put the tape on it, and then you soak it in like freaking acid to melt the gold away. I think it's is it sulfuric acid? I think it's sulfuric acid. I don't remember. But it melts the gold away and then maintains the. You look at a circuit board and you see he used to make those by hand. I used to watch him do it, and yeah. But as far as being a good father, he was not exactly the most emotionally available person on earth. So I'm 24 and I still watch cartoons. They are more mature than most adult shows. Yeah. IBM might not have existed, or at least not as it did. No, IBM was around. IBM was around. I think they were around in the 50s, weren't they? My dad worked for them in the 60s. Hoopy Food, missed opportunity, like when none of us bought Bitcoin 10 plus years ago. Right. I only heard, well, it was 2014. I heard about Bitcoin for the first time in 2014, and I didn't have enough information about it. Ferric acid. Okay. I used to make those too. Nerds aren't known for interpersonal skills. Yeah, my dad was. It was pretty nerdy. But that's okay. My dad was a troubleshooter. He'd come with huge stacks of computer paper with programming on them. I'd have to go line by line to find the errors. He'd have to go line by line to find the errors. I know. Remember the green and white computer? We had one of those printers at home. It's like this wide. It's like 11 by 17 sheets, but sideways, and they have the little puncture holes in the side so it can scroll. Radio Shack had these rub-on circuit board traces and pads. It made it really easy to make custom boards. I never did it myself. I just watched my dad do it. And he would take, when it came time for the acid part, he would go from the garage and do it out in the driveway, I guess, because, you know, it's acid. So IBM was founded in 1911. Holy cow. Holy cow. That's it, Mike. That's the paper. I know. That's it. And the sound. Oh, man. You're bringing back memories. Memories. Hoopy Fruit says, I was working at a local burger spot that was open till 5 a.m. and took Bitcoin back in 2014, 2015. Our signature burger was called the Stoner Burger. It was like $300 then, wasn't it? Man, you had no excuse. You definitely had no excuse. I think it's funny that they used to use Bitcoin in World of Warcraft as in-game money, and it's like, I bet you there's hardware wallets, or not hardware, coin, because they would do it on Coinbase wallets out there that people have completely forgotten about, where they used to play World of Warcraft and they were trading, you know, the sword of Themyscira or whatever, the flaming sword of Themyscira, you know, for like what would today be hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Bitcoin. I don't know. So funny. So yeah, if you played World of Warcraft, try to find your Coinbase login. The sad part is that you guys talking about your dad's doing all this stuff, and I was doing the same stuff. I feel old now. Well, Jeff, you are old. Of course, you're only like 10 years older than me, right? Wait, are you even 10? How old are you? I thought you were like 58. Or did you just turn 60 or something? Or 70? What was it? 80? My dad was born in 40, so he would be 85 this year if he was still alive. 59. Dude, you only have 6 years on me. So well, yeah. I mean, I remember my dad doing that stuff. I was around 10 or something. 10, 12. So yeah, you would have been probably graduating high school around the time that I'm talking about. So if you were doing this stuff when you were young and nerdy, get you see you're young and nerdy. Well, you're not young anymore. You're just still nerdy. Don't you mean cool? You feel cool now? On Coinbase, maybe, yeah. If you're saying they did a collab, I don't know about that, but there's no crypto associated with World of Warcraft. They did back in the day, because I have friends who used it as in-game currency. Well, maybe it wasn't in-game. I don't know. I didn't play, but I know I have friends who said, yeah, they had Bitcoin accounts for trading World of Warcraft content. So I'm not sure how that actually worked. Maybe it was like off. I have no idea. Yeah. If you played, then you'd probably have a better idea than I would. Because I played WoW before crypto was even a thing up till today. People obviously will buy and sell stuff using crypto, but it wasn't an in-game. Gotcha. Okay. So it wasn't integrated. It was probably like people just agreeing to something on a message board or some crap like that, right? I'm feeling younger as this conversation goes on. What's really funny is I enjoy having Jeff around because usually in all the spheres I'm in comics and in crypto and online, I'm usually the oldest guy. And then Jeff comes around and it's like, Jeff. To Jeff, the old guy in the room. Yeah, that's probably it. Corpse Grinder says ferric acid is a term referring to a hypothetical acid. I don't think that's what he was using. Yeah, I think it's sulfuric, because sulfuric is what you use to gold plate, right? So it breaks down gold at a molecular level, and then the gold becomes just part of the solution. I believe that's sulfuric acid, isn't it? And all of the plating on the hydrochloric, nitric acid and hydrochloric acid. Use an oxidant like manganese dioxide, nitric acid, oxygen, ferric ions, or cuprid ions, and you will dissolve gold. So, ferric ions? Because I remember in jewelry class we would use, I think, hydrochloric acid. I think that's what we used in jewelry for when we were gold plating stuff. Aqua regia, royal water, which is composed of 2 parts hydrochloric and 1 part nitric acid. Hydrochloric and nitric acid. That sounds like fun. You're not dissolving gold, you're dissolving copper. I remember it being gold. But you're not as maybe you were doing it later and they were using copper, but I'm pretty sure they were using gold. Gold is I don't know. You could be right. I could be wrong. Whatever the case, it was ferric chloride. All right. He was probably gold plating the traces. Oh. Okay. I got you. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember because I remember the little thin, sticky copper, like the copper tape. Sorry, I didn't do this stuff myself. I just watched my dad do it. So that's and I was a kid. So but yeah, I remember the copper tape. You use the copper tape to make that stuff too, right? All right. Anyways, that's it for the show today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here. Hit me up in the Discord if you want to continue the conversation. Actually, I don't know if I have time. Why do I have so little time these days? I'm so bloody busy and it's driving me nuts. But I appreciate you all being here. Today's Thursday, so don't forget tomorrow night on Blacklist Universe we're having the Friday night auctions. If you're interested at all in collecting some original artwork for me or some of my professional artist friends, please do that. Yes, you can use copper tape, but etching a board is way more reliable. I remember both. All right. God bless us, everyone. We'll see you on the next exciting episode of Cross Examination.
Back in line, you dog! On your feet! Get them going!